Kukuchingamidzai muri Zimbabwe pano pa Sly Media TV. Zita rangu ndinoitwa Pelagia Kwampurwa kana kuti Sokostina muri Zimbabwe. Ndofunga kubva makuseni kusvika patiri nguva ino tine news dzatanzwa kuti kumbare Musika kwabvira kwacha. Vazhinji vedu panguva zvino vari pari kuchema, vari pari kurwadziwa. Isi tinongoti Sly Media TV kune vari kuchema dai Mwari wavanyaradza kwezi vanhu vazhinji varasikirwa. Inyaya iri kutaurika pari zvino vanhu mune mibvunzo yakawanda wanda yamuri kubvunzana, asi isu SlyMedia TV tati mubvunzo yaminawe iyoyo regai tiunzewo vanokwanisa kudaira mubvunzo iyo vari pamutemo wekugona kudaira mubvunzo yatinayo nyangwe nesuwo pano pa SlyMedia TV. Saka muri Zimbabwe nhasi mustudio panguva ino tateta vekubata vari pakumhanya kugadzisa kuti situation iyoyi yaitika munyika medu kumbare kumusika igadzirisike. Zita ravo vanoitwa Councillor Mbare Nhende, variwo committee chairperson we small to medium enterprises. Ndo vandinawo pari zvino kuti timbonyatsovabvunza kuti muri kuziva kuti vamwe venyu muri kunetsekana. Saka nhasi regai titi mibvunzo yatinayo iyoyo igopindurwa naCouncillor. Tinokuchingamidzai Councillor. Tinotenda Councillor, ndinovimba kuti makuseni pandambokufonerai muchiratidza kuti masvika kumbare kune zvanga zviitika kutsva kwaitika kumbare. Ndofunga muri Zimbabwe ine mibvunzo yakawanda wanda. Wokutanga ndokuti imimiwo muchisvika paground kana kuti muchinzwa news idzi dzasvika sei kwamuri?
Zvinhu zvinorwadza zvikuru kuti musangane nezvinhu zvakadaro, zvikuru sei uchitarisa maererano neikonomi yedu kuti haisi kupefoma. Saka vanhu vazhinji muZimbabwe, not only muHarare, because vanhu vazhinji vanouya kuzoshanda muguta reHarare varari muno, vanhu vanotobva kunana Chitungwiza, Epworth, kunana Domboshava, kunana Norton, vachiuya vanenge vachitengesa zvinhu zvavo. Ndo vamwe vevanhu vakangonzwa kuti moto uriko vakazotyaira kusvika kuma 2 AM vachisvika zvinhu zvadi zvinhu zvatsva. Asi patasvika paground makuseni unongoona vanhu vagumirwa, vamwe vachifenda, vamwe vachichema, vanhu vanga vachitaura vega, kurakidza kushungurudzika kwangu kuripo nelosi yaitika nezvinhu zvavo zvavanga vachiwana cheuviri, sezvo kusina mabasa. Vanhu vakawanda vari kurarama nekutenga nekutengesa at a small scale.
Councillor, mubvunzo wandinawo vanhu vari kunyanyoda kubvunza ndewokuti tingati moto uyu watanga sei uye wanyatsotanga nguva maybe pamwe mangu mungaite uruzivo nekusvika kwamaitawo panzvimbo apa?
Patasvika unonzwa shona yekuti afirwa atarisi kumeso ya ndo vanhu vazhinji vangatinawo vanga vadi vafirwa. Ende kuti utsvage information iyoyo tambozama kuda kutsvaga, but hakuna changa chichinyatsobuda chichirakidza kuti kune chokwadi neuwandu hwevanhu vanga urimo. But dzimwe nhaurwa dzatinosangana nadzo vanoyanzotsva inyaya yekuti magetsi edu ari kugara asiko, uye vanhu vari kuita zviye zvekutora magetsi vachibatanidzana then voita maconnections anenge ari loose, ari exposed. So panouya magetsi pai anouya akawanda achipinda musystem, pamwe pacho anenge atoita zvekubiwa mugrid, chinova chinhu chatiri kutotambura nacho seCity of Harare. Zesa biu redu riri kuti kwadza seCity of Harare, kunyanya Mbare, ndo mune maconnections ane vanhu vasingabhadhari, but rinozobhadhara neCity of Harare because ndo inenge ine connection iyo vanhu vachipasana achienda kunoshandwa nekudii. So magetsi anogona kunge ariwo akonzeresa, uyezve vanhu vane kuita basa rekupisira zvinhu pamaroadside vachida kudisposa zvinhu zvavanenge vapedza kushandisa, oro kupisa matayi kuti vatore waya dzekugadzira mafenzi zvinhu zvinongoitika mumbare imomo so hamuzonyatsozivi kuti moto uyu watangira papi.
Kutaura kwamuri kuita kuratidza kuti zvinhu zvekuti zvaigara zvichiitika panga pakamboitwa here mameasures ekuti tisazosvika apa, nyaya dzemagetsi idzodzi, nyaya dzekupisa kuruta
vanhu vezese vanouya every now and then vachizama kudisconnecta vanhu maconnections avanenge vachiita, then also nyaya yekucontaina nyaya yemoto apa pambare apa panga pasina machallenges. Machallenges aya tanga tichinyanya kumawana kuarea 8 kuGlenview kunogadzirwa mubhedha kuya nemasofa, takatobvako vhiki rapfuura tichizama kuti tionesane kuti tine modern plan yatinayo inenge ichifambirana nekuti zvinhu zvive fire resilient, zvive fire resistant, so that moto ukawanikwa unokwanisa kucontainwa pawaitikira, not kuti unospreada throughout the whole complex.
Alright, ndoda kuti muende pafoni penyu kansela, ndakutumirai link kuti vamwe vakwanise kukunzwai muchitaura, munogona kushare mumamwe magroups ekuti vanhu vazhinji varoda kunzwa kuti imimiwo secouncil zviri kuitika izvi muchaita sei kuti zvisarambe zvichiitika, uye vanhu varasikirwawo nemaproperties avo ndezvipi zvichaitika kuti vakwanise kuti vawaniwo zvinhu zvavo back. Ndakamirira kuti muwane link randakutumirai. Ndine mubvunzo wekuti ndichaubvunza muchirungu uyu. What is the estimated financial loss due to the fire? How would this impact SMEs in the area? Nekuti nzvimbo iyo tiri kuona kuti ndo nzvimbo yakawanda ma-SMEs.
Yeah, that is a very important question. So pataenda paground, we managed to talk to the chairperson where market yacha, as well as the Secretary General. He gave us a narration of the kind of loss that has happened and the kind of damage that was suffered. Kune dzimwe nzvimbo dzisina kutsva asi dzatoaffectwa neheat in terms of because there was so much fire. 8 fire tenders attended the place, but there was chaos. So loss yedu yaitika in 2 forms. Number 1, it was lost directly due to fire. Then number 2, it was lost due to looting.
Okay, vanhu
vanga vakuluta vakomana vanga varipo vesecurity vambozama kuda kudzimira moto, but at that very same time vanga vakudila also nemarogue elements anga akuluta. So you realize kuti vanhu vanga vachitomhanya vamwe vachisvika panzvimbo vapedzera vakuda kudhila nevanhu vada kuluta. The very same people ivavo vanga vachitoblock. I think tatomboposta papage redu reCity of Harare kuti mafire tenders ari kublokwa nehuman traffic iri kuluta. So ichallenge yatatoita yekuti tane community iri hinged on kucapitalize panoita madisaster. We have noticed this panoitika maroad accidents, instead yekubatsira vanhu vakwara unoona vanhu vachisecha vanhu vachibira vanhu. It's the same situation yaitika. But in terms of value, you'd look at from the figures that we got, Mbare is a multi-billion-dollar economy. Okay. And that space alone, the retail space, they were using it for display, they were using it for selling, they were also using it for storage. Okay. So you'd realize vanhu vanga vakastoka zvinhu mafigures anga achibuda 50,000 30,000 worth of goods that they have stored there that they will be selling. These people, they sell my radio, my TV, my gas tanks, my batteries, those big solar batteries, my inverter, vanoita zvemadisk, vachitengesawo madora. It's from the most micro and minute business unit to my high capital business units, but are under the purview of small to medium enterprise. So we're talking of $1 billion in terms of the loss. But it capitulated nekuti imwe nemoto at the same time zvimwe zvarowa nevanhu vanga vachiluta.
Pane vamwe vakutenderedzawo kuti kune vamwe vanga vachitipa ma 20,000 ma 15,000 awo cash. How far true is that?
Yes, because this area is traditionally being a secure area. Yekuti vano understand that they've invested in security. So there are various marshals vanenge varipo vanenge vachimana that place. Perhaps if you had gone there Arimanieri, you don't just park near that area because they understand kuti munenge mune ukoshwa hwevanhu vanenge vasiya mari dzavo nechichi. It's a work area. You just like any other business, you create for yourself a safe, you create for yourself a working space where you know kuti panapa pari secure. better than kumba kwekuti unogona kungoenda usina kana security yaunodi yaunowana
kana kuterwa nematsotsi
kunyange ukaterwa vanokuona uri iwewe neiphone yako.
Okay. Next question is, how are the SMEs and vendors being supported immediately following the disaster? What are emergency measures are in place to ensure business continuity for affected SMEs business? But cannot richambomira. Vaihodhawo madomasi, vaitengawo zvakawanda.
Yeah, vekumadomasi vari right. Because moto wedu wazocontainwa wakuda kuenda the wholesale side. Yange ari the retail side. So yazorwa one block wholesale.
Okay.
Ndo kunotanga kuwanikwawo madomasi uchienda the fresh produce market. Usually fresh produce market mune msazvo zvastokwa zvinhu zvinouya musi uyo zvichibuda. That area yanga vanga vachitotengesa, but of course kana kwaitika something of this gigantic nature, you realize panoitika disturbances in terms of flow yemari, because the very same people vanga vane mashops are also the customer base because people are into multi-business ventures. Some will be selling there, at the same time they will have markets in other areas because they understand supply side kwa vanoiwana iri cheap.
Okay.
So ndo pano affect, but in the shortest time possible, what we have done as council is we had to go there with the SMEs committee. We went there on the ground to have a full appreciation of what really transpired and how best we can chip in terms of making sure kuti vanhu vaona pekutengesera. But it's a disaster. The place is not in a good state. When they moto wanga uchiri kutobvira in some other areas vanga vachiri kutongo extinguisher. Vanoita zve-scrap metal vanga vakuya vachilutawo scrap ipapo. Then panga pachakazara madota because it was raised to the ground. We are talking of zvinhu zvakaiswa Mbare India 1907. So you're talking of a market yakaiswa as far as then, but it was strong steel and mortar structures. The fire was huge to the extent yekuti malinteo anga achibhenda, ringori linteo rakadaro robhenda rochidona pass. So the devastation iriko inoda kuti patange pacleanwa. So we are going to have a disaster risk reaction teams edu vachiita kuti pacleanwe. Then you can also work on modalities in the shortest time possible. We get to engage with my partners, the city of Harare, my willing partners, so they come on board in terms of financial assistance to beef up, because this is a livelihood center and lots of livelihoods have been lost. So we want them to beef up so that vanowana pekutangira at the same time. Patatoenda paground taenda nevakomana vedu ku-city architect. The purpose thereof was then for them to then understand the affected area, then come up with new designs so that in the quickest time possible we then a design inokwanisa kuti pachitwa a new structure that will be able to absorb the people vanga varimo. Then also we are intending that it also become perhaps a double-story building so that we can also take the other guys vanga vachito operate from road, so that towanira pekushanda. So mukutanda makudo ndo munonga ho takutongoya nemasolution topata famba nachekada.
Okay, councillor, panonotaura kuti Mbare muya vanhu vanenge vakangopanana zvekugara kana kuti vanhu vanga vakangopanana matables, umwe anga ane 5 umwe haana, umwe ane 4. So the question always comes kuti saka zvaiitwa settlement yacho mukati imomo mugona kutitsanangurira mukansila nekuti muri kuzvinzwisisa zvanga zviri registered here zvaiitika mukati muya.
Market iyaya iri under city of Harare.
Okay.
So zvainenge iri under city of Harare tine market officers edu vanenge vatoripo anotounderstanda kuti tine matables mangani anenge achioperate. But because of the demand, the discrepancy between the demand and the supply side in terms of workspace, the bulging SMEs in the context of Zimbabwe or even my developing countries, you'd realize I think you've noticed it. Even fragmentation, big shops in town, they are being fragmented into smaller units. It's people realizing that we are many that want to utilize space. So let us just cut this and then stock, then you just have a single display, but we help each other. We know good, my Joe anotengesa is. Baba test vanotengesa izvi hombe anotengesa chi izvi but itakwanisa kuti munhu wese awane pekutengesa. So it relies really we have your stores, but on those stores it does not match in terms of the number of players that were within the markets.
Okay. All right, so tiona kuti economy yedu isusu yakawanda informal. It's an informal economy. And kwacho kwangu chiita mari ndo kwacho kwacha. That's why there's an outcry. So my question is, how would the fire impact the local economy, and what strategies are being implemented to mitigate this?
So Mbare is an ecosystem, open cascading ecosystem where one feeds into the other. Because of the huge numbers, you realize people come from as far as Kariba to sell matemba. In Mbare, people come as far as Binga to sell dried fish in Mbare. So the person who was selling my TV is the market for the person who is selling matemba.
Okay.
And they have my stores, so some of them are actually selling matemba. We are not all Odessa. All that has been disturbed. So the disturbance of this ecosystem in terms of economy should not affect how money is going to be circulating in Mbare. So we need to then come up with immediate strategies to mitigate my negative impacts of this loss, which involves even trying to look for an alternative place in the meantime where people can be housed whilst we do operate and make sure that paddy back clean and people can get back there in the shortest time possible.
Okay, that's a promise from Councillor Mbare Nhende. And we are trying all our best kuti vanhu vadzokere pakuita mabasa awo. Pane munhu ari kundibvunza palive pano Councillor anonzi Guna unendoro Wanda. Hanzi pamuri kuti 1 billion, muri kuti 1 billion zigere muri kuti 1 billion USA.
Tikutaura zvemari inotenga muMbare mwe.
Okay.
Kana mukunza nditi kuti pandatanga kutaura pai ndataura nyaya yekuti vanhu vanga vachifenda. Nditi vanhu vachitaura vega. Ukaenda ipapo uri munhu asina kusimba unototiza. Because situation yacho iripo ndeye vanhu valuza livelihood. People were talking of 15,000 hour anga vasiya kuti wandatonzwa anga akakandiwa round nezuro akati rikandisiye mari yangu kuno iri safe ye 12,000 yadi yacha munhu anenge astoka. So people cannot be having revolving funds ema 12,000 at the bare maximum without having to be able to stock things that go beyond 20k in value. Okay. And if you look at how many people are operating in that almost 10,000 square meters of land, affect Kwalimoto, you then have an appreciation of how much money is there. Okay. We're talking of people that are earning a living out of Mbare. Some of them, you see, they drive nice cars. It's coming out of Mbare. It's a hub of activity. Every bus comes from wherever they're coming from, they get into Mbare. If you open a shop space in Mbare, you realize the takers are there at whatever rentals you are charging. Okay. Because people understand there is business. There is Siaso, there is Magaba, there is Mpezanamo, there is Shishawasha grounds, there is Mbare Musika, fresh produce. Then there was Mbare retail end. Also, then there is Njere Car Park, which is also having small shops. Then there is Vito, which has also been recently upgraded, where there are small shops where people are actually going there. Kunotenga, Yembe, Butsu, Chichi, all kind of things are being sold in Mbare. So it's a hub of economic activity. It is serious. That's why we are always having the impetus. The government must come in terms of embracing informal sector, informalizing it, so that it will be able to tap into the high volumes of transactions that are occurring in those areas. Yet we have the government which is winnowing in abject a lack of USD, but it's there in circulation in Mbare. So they need to come and embrace that kind of economy, and then they collect the revenue and be able to recapitalize other areas so that they can be able to decentralize my operations from one area.
Okay, thank you so much for answering my next question. I was going to ask you about the government, but you've answered. Thank you so much. Then my last question. This question, this is the big question about today. Mbare munowanzoitika nyaya dzekuti politics takawanda. Some are saying, insinuating, this could be something that has been driven because of politics in Mbare. Tombonzwa kunzi kwavarwa veimwe party vinotonga vachiti ndepedu, opposition chiti ndepedu. Saka mwari kuti hazvina kukonzerwa here nekuti kunowo vamwewo vanoitawo nezvepolitics vada kupfidzisawo vamwe. I don't know if you get my question. Do you think this whole thing is politically affiliated with something that has to do with politics or anything?
That is a misguided and malicious line of thought.
Okay.
When we are actually looking at this kind of a crisis. In any case, Nzara I selected kuti uri munhu weZanu, I selected kuti uri munhu weCCC, I selected kuti uri weNdonga, I selected kuti uri munhu weZudu. Nzara inongorwa chi munhu wese. Customer yako ahambuya achitarisa kuti wakapfeka t-shirt ipi, anouya achitsvaga product yaari kudi yaari kuda. Market and marketing dynamics are not affected by politics, especially at that micro level. So you would realize kuti this is a genuine case yekuti panenge paita moto. Markets mune fusion of all.
Okay.
Varimo vanhu opposition, varimo vanhu veZanu-PF. Kuona macandidates akakontestana muMbare, vese vanhu vanoita zvekutengesa muMbare. Vakatokontestana palast election. And vese vanenge varimo vachitengesa. And vanhu ivava vanenge vane zvinhu zvatsva mavoters evanhu vapi ivavo. You can't be deliberately making such a foolish decision yekuti you go and cause a fire. There is no arson related to this that I can substantively say, but my issues ekungoti panenge paita recklessness in terms of fire management, which are also areas that need to be invested in by the civil protection unit at the broader national level, so that they come into my area. I've always told people kuti Harare cannot be treated the same way you are going to be treating Plumtree, which is just a bus stop. Okay. Harare is huge, is broad. There's quite a lot of things that do happen in Harare.
Yes.
A lot of money circulates in Harare. In our dormitory towns, they all come into Harare. If you look at the kind of congestion that you face when you're going to Chitungwiza, you're going to Notom, when you're going to Domboshawa, you're going to Rua, that congestion speaks volumes around how much traffic is getting into Harare for the purposes of doing business on a day-to-day business. So it needs collaborative effort in terms of bringing up infrastructure that is fire resilient, infrastructure that will be able to mitigate my damages of my disasters like fire. Okay. So we are faced with this crisis. Let us not point fingers. Let us come up with solutions.
It's not the time to point fingers, Zimbabweans. And don't point fingers. Musaite zvemakuwa mchiudzana zvisiko kansela vari kupindura pano kuti hapana izvozvo. Let's just find a solution, because hanzi nzara mati nzara aiuye ku haitsvage t-shirt kanzara.
Nzara haisarudze.
Haitsvage regalia. Inongorova across and zvaitika kuna nanga.
Asina mari. Ndiwo unonangwa nenzara. So apa mukana wekuti utsvage mari panotengeseka.
Okay.
And it's a designated selling point. So we must be able to embrace it. We are doing it everywhere.
Okay.
In Harare, we have designated marketplaces, and we want to make sure they are priority areas, because we've realized that the formal economy has dismally failed for the past 2 decades.
Okay.
And we are also we are not outpacing it in terms of formalizing the informal economy, which is at a greater pace outpaced the formal economy.
Okay, thank you so much, Councillor. Again, panda palita ma comments aware. Prince Mtebuka, thank you, Councillor, for responding to the disaster swiftly. And maita zvakanaka. Nekuti mamuri po background. Vari vamwe vakato vari kunze kwenyika ndizvo. Right. Richard Pamire, thank you, SME's chairperson, Councillor Mbare Nhende, for standing with our beloved ones who lost their goods. And maita zvakanaka ndo ma comments atinawo panapa pa live pedu. Takubvunza mubvunzo wekupedzisira. Then mubvunzo hauzi mubvunzo as such, but we want you to speak to Zimbabweans right now. you're no longer speaking to me. You're speaking to them what you want them to hear from the deepest part of your heart concerning this disaster, which is going to affect the nation at large. Like you said, kune vanhu vanotobva kumarondera vachiya kunoko, vamwe vanobva as far as Plumtree kwacho ikoko vachiya kunoko. So we want you to speak to Zimbabweans at large concerning this disaster that is upon us.
I think my point of departure on that question of or what you have asserted is to appeal
Exactly.
to anyone with the powers that be to be able to come on board. Don't ever look at whatever you're going to bring as sinabas. I saw people speaking to themselves today.
Yeah, set.
And my sad moments, it means that psychologically people have been affected.
Yes.
Economically they have been
Affected.
It will cascade even into their household. It will shake my marriages because a source of livelihood in Engadi. So we need everyone who can chip in, council itself, putting up infrastructure, recapitalizing the very same people, the government coming in, the ministry that is responsible for small to medium enterprise must chip in. Organizations that offer social cycle support, they must also chip in. Organizations that are looking at women in business, they must chip in. Organizations that are looking at youth, they must chip in because the young people that are operating there. Then any other organization that can come in, I know there is still in Mbare, they can offer masimbi ekutipa kadzirwe arawildeo bricks na better bricks. Those people can come in so that we put my construction companies that we do have. Nditi toitachi mkomberana chuma chemzukuru chokumiza chadi charokwa then vanhu vokwanisa kubatsirika. This is a disaster of gigantic proportions, and it needs every hand on the deck so that we deaccelerate vanhu from mode yavapinda depression, and to also be able to accelerate my economic gains anenge achibuda mumbare. And this is for the poor people in essence, because this is where we get our cheap stuff, in as much as the other business people might be expanding on their business, because the impetus is to kurumura vanhu from being SMEs so that they become a bigger business. I spoke of Steelmate because is one good example of someone that started out of Magaba.
Okay.
But now is big. Okay. So it's a platform in Kumurumura one. But kana paita crisis yakadai, we need recapitalization, more revolving funds, we need a government capital injection into this, we need organizations that deal with livelihood, which I come on board.
Okay, thank you so much, Zimbabwe. Kuneva zopinda later, we were talking na Councillor Mbare Nhende, committee chairperson of my SMEs. Regendi verenge ndichivhara chirongwa ma comments azoya tichiri kutaura Councillor. Pane Costa Mande, I think we need to deal with illegal space barons. And talent Almon Chitsaka, quite an informative interview. You're full of wisdom, Councillor. All the best in your endeavors ahead. Costa Mande also said we also need to create an insurance and a revolving fund to help SMEs grow in a manner that regulated and contributing to the fiscus through paying taxes. I would want you to say something on this one.
Yeah, like in my last comments, I actually mentioned that issue of the revolving fund. Okay. So at council level, if you, I'm not sure, maybe 2-3 months back, we actually have made a resolution to say let's have a revolving fund, and we have said we're going to have 2 of our directors being part and parcel of that revolving fund, so that we have money that comes in for the purposes of uplifting Wanwarimuchi Varimu SMEs. But there is a very critical issue that you mentioned there, the issue of insurance.
Exactly.
The issue of insurance, a challenge, we face this even from awards. People do not even have, police.
Okay.
So you have crisis here, free graves. At the same time, people do not have my health insurance. They will come to you, Councillor, and at the very least, That area is not being tapped deliberately by all the players. So we need to have, but then how best do we deal with it? We need to craft, because it had been having high premiums. So people would shun away from that because they are looking at bread and butter issues. Most people live from hand to mouth. So we need to focus at a micro level. How best can we have my insurances on business, insurance on people, insurance on health, that people at least pay $1.
Okay.
But looking at the highest number of people, like Glenora, you realize you have over 35,000 people. If you are able to tap into getting $35,000 per month from a resident of Glenora as an insurance figure, you are not going to be getting everyone sick out of the 35,000.
Yeah, true.
So you can revolve that money and put it in the very same way. The last time we had a database collection in terms of how many players are into small and medium enterprises, particularly the vendors in Mbare, the figures were going beyond 3,000.
Okay.
So if you collect $1 a month from those people, it means you can capitalize maybe people with 200 per person for business, and unorumura vanhu vakawanda because of that. So the issue insurance needs my companies, my actual scientists to utilize the knowledge that they are getting and not try and fit into my frameworks aripo a formal sector, because ndokwa deductions by my salaries. Okay. They must come into the informal sector, talk to the people who insure my goods and one gachi never knew how. I tell you, these people are willing to be part and parcel of these vehicles of insurance, because they've been succumbed to these fires for quite a while.
Wow.
The other issues when we want to come up with my solutions, people think kuti vakanzi tiri kumuvha tiri kugadzirisa pamuri nditi vanofunga kuti avadi havadzoki.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Recurrence yemafires yakuita kuti vanhu vaunderstand kuti musi watichauya kuGlenview toti vanhu chimbosudurukai council ida kuvaka, they will understand kwatiri kudi kwatiri kubva nako. So that ukavakirwa woona shell yako yaunokwanisa kustore zvinhu zvako away from fire, toisa ma-setups edu. Last week iyoyo vane fire brigade vakatombotenderera because pane panochargwa mafoni panga paputika magetsi paakadzoka vakatopota mabvira. So it's recurring, but vanhu vacho havazi insured, so we need to then tap into that.
So these people were not insured?
Yes.
Yeah, I can understand the pain that are going through.
Mostly iri kushandira ku the formalized sector.
They should come to the informal.
They have not tapped into that. So if you have noticed, the people that saw the gap, they came up with microfinancing companies. And those microfinancing companies have been booming, growing from Harare, going outside Harare. Because they understand there are people that need micro loans to just have a Mariabu operator. And they are not those maridzos.
All right.
Vanodzosa vasiyana nemabig companies munonyura zimillion vapei ma500 ma1000 muone vanhu vari maswa vanodzosa mari dzacho because vari kuto understand ndopo vari kudi ndopo vari kuraramira. Notovasvikira ipapo moita modalities, moita literature review yenyu on others that have operated in those spaces. In your work as a city of Harare, we are open to research. We are doing research with the University of Zimbabwe on how best we can ensure that my informal setups and sectors are fused into productive business sectors. So we are there, we can offer you, we can go with you to these people, because they are going to accept one way say my hotspots, my march or politically. So as tika name tika introduce about vana vabva kuuse it vari kuita research zvakati kuti pabatsirike insurance zvinhu zvinobuda zvakadi
zvakanaka. Saka insurance yakudiwa because zvinozogona zvanyanya, like togara chingonzwa area 8 but nhasi Mbare Musika. Saka there's need to do that. Lastly, Jubilation Chovaka Shoko said, thank you, Councillor, for swiftly responding. Let's move with pace to resuscitate the place and give people their everyday life back, and also make sure the new look place is immune to space barons. Thank you so much, Jubilation, and thank you so much Kuneva Gachona live and Councillor and Nhende watanga tinawo committee chairperson. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, Pabuda Nyema Land Barons, I think twice.
Yeah,
so
twice.
I felt
it's okay, you can.
It's important. We are kuma residential area and kuma commercial stands kune land barons. Musika kune space barons. Muna anotora block rese oita sublease oita subrent ma spaces why.
Okay.
But so in case of this panapa so what we will do, because we have a database, even vangu operator from this market, the chairperson also na secretary general wacho ndataura nawo makuseni vane database revanhu vavangu vachioperate.
Okay.
But you'd realize some of them vangu vachioperata vakatosubletwa na someone else. So what we will do, we will work with the database that we have at council kuti table number 7 Mbare Musika retail market inani ina pelagia kuti toti pela ngambo uya pana iye nechitupa chake tomuona
exactly
pela aripo atadzokusera table number 7 number 8 yonzi inaomberation nhende aripi odanza katatu tokutsvaka wofonerwa wonyorerwa kana usisipo usiri kubatika panzvimbo takuita allocation kune vanhu vanenge vari chipo vachikuzivanwa vari kushanda. So that we deal with issue yema space barons. We did that when it was reopened. We tried our level best. We might have not eliminated it, but we tried our level best to have allocations. Then on top of those vasingabatike, we then had to give to others. So we are trying to move in that direction, but it's not plug and play. We have to follow it up through so that it results in a perfection at the end of the day.
Okay, jubilation, if you are listening, I think wadairwa in a councillor because people are still coming, and though we are running out of time, I'm going to read the last comment. And then if you need to reply or anything you can do. Tafadzwa Machirori, thank you, Councillor, for a swift response. People are liking how you have responded swiftly. In the future, there's need to put fire preventative measures which are commensurate to the growing number of SMEs at Mbare Musika and other trading centers. Yeah, Tafadzwa, to say this.
Takambo udakuita solution yekuti let's have my designated areas for trading. We have realized kuti pane pavanoti pahasha.
Okay.
So munogona kuagadzirira kuti nemunotengesera apa vanodzoka apa. I want to align to his line of thought to say ipapo pacho parikuda kutogadzirwa in a way yekuti panoitwa preventative measures.
Exactly.
So we have like I said in the morning when we went there, tatoenda navakomana vekusiti architect.
Right.
The purpose thereof was for them to have an appreciation of the area and also speak to the affected people, what kind of business they were doing, what kind of inflammables were they selling, what other products can be put in one corner given to their fire susceptibility, and you can pull others in a certain area so that you know what danger is contained here. Here we have extreme preventative measures. Zoiswa ikoko kunoko kunenge kuri mild. Moto zone kuti this is a red zone, this is purple, this is yellow, this is green.
Okay.
So it's something that can be done because you have to understand kuti it's actually done even in terms of pamene mchisa zvinhu zvenyu mukadaita setup yema service station, you consider all those things. So we want to fuse in that because it's not wise. Multi-million dollar organizations anokwanisa kuinvesta into this. That's why you find very few incidences where yauna kuchitra. The most recent akatotsva ndepa wevhali pai. But you find it's after a very long period of time. Perhaps pane patoputika something huge chinenge chatoputika ipapa, but they always contain fires. Ikoko vanodzidzisana zvinhu zveshi zvezve. Secretary with education, it's on the dot. Unosunga boots dzako, ma-injuries pabasa anotokupinza busy because they've understood. But ukukuku kune gap re-information, kune gap re-training, kune gap re-zvinhu zvese to do with financial literacy, safety, basic health, all those things. There is a gap in terms of SME, so it must be addressed. But it is addressed at a policy level, both at council as a third tier of government and at central government.
Okay. I don't need to add anything pane zvataurwa nakansela. And kansela vanga vachidaira nyaya yaitika, nyaya yekuti kuMbare Musika kuretail kwatsva. Saka vataura zvakawanda mameasures achaiswa in place kuti zvisarambe zvichiitika. Notogara chinzwa kuti area 8 kwatsva, ndasanzwa kuti kuMbare Musika kwatsva. Saka ndofunga tanzwa kansela vachitaura zvizhinji handichakwanise kuwedzeredza. Thank you so much, Councillor, for your time. Toziva takujumai. You're a busy man, but we want to thank you so much to do this interview so that my questions are nevanhu. My questions, I'm sure you've answered almost every questions that people had. So we want to thank you so much for your time, Councillor Mbare Ishe and Nhende. And Kunemi, vanga vachiona live, thank you so much. I think munhu wese aisa question yake apa, aisa contribution yake, I was able to read it out. Zvakare regai titi kunewo hama neshamwari dzarasikirwa nezvinhu zvavo kuMbare Musika, dai Mwari akunyaradzai. And Councillor have also promised they are going to work hard necouncil yavo negovernment to make sure that kuti pachawanikwawo measures ekuti mubatsirikewo kwava neshamwari dzarasikirwa kuMbare Musika. So until we meet next time, muri Zimbabwe, don't forget to like, follow and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Until we meet next time, chisarai shakanaka.